So the Peter Principle is the idea that employees get promoted to the point of failure, or they rise to the level of incompetence. So you're good at your job, you get promoted. Your role shifts a little bit. Let's say whatever you're doing now, you're pretty good at it, but you didn't get the proper training. So you're pretty good. So you manage, you pick up, you learn. Okay, you get promoted again. You didn't get the proper training. Now you fucking suck. You're a manager, and everyone has to work under you. That's how it works. The Peter Principle. You rise to the point of incompetence, and there you remain. You start making bad decisions, and the people under you have to deal with that. That's one aspect of what we're talking about. One aspect of not only the corporate workplace, but workplaces in general. We're talking office space.
I had never heard of the Peter Principle. This is the first time that I'm hearing of it. But I have something that's a little bit similar that I've discussed with friends and family and co-workers over the years. You talk about the Peter Principle and learning and advancing, and my view in 35 years of working various jobs, and I don't know, the count is somewhere around 52 now. If you stay in a job long enough, pay attention to the most mediocre, worthless, biggest ass kisser on the crew. If you stay in the job long enough, that's the motherfucker that you're going to be working for at some point. They always advance the ass kissers. They always advance somebody who is going to further the work culture of ass kissing, bullshitting, pretending to know something. That's the lesson that I learned in part from Office Space. I gotta say, man, Mike Judge is one of the most underrated writer-directors in Hollywood for the simple fact that his shit is so spot on, and yet it's so fucking difficult to market. It says a lot. It's so difficult to market and get an audience interested through the corporate system, whether it's Idiocracy or this film, Office Space. His films, when they have found audiences, have done so by lack of any initiative on 20th Century Fox's part or any other studio that's backing. I think he's made 3 films at this point: Idiocracy, Office Space, and a film he did called Extract, which is kind of like a version of Office Space, but told from the manager's perspective. He covers the bases, and he's a very good filmmaker. He's a very, when you take into account these 3 films, King of the Hill and Beavis and Butthead, plus Beavis and Butthead Do America, I think his shit is on point. I think he's a talent that Hollywood never really knew what to do with, because they didn't know how to market laziness, ignorance, ass kissing, and that bullshit quality that is necessary to move forward in corporate America. Maybe it's because the studios are so symptomatic of that they don't have the ability to reflect on it.
It's too close to home.
Oh yeah. I think this is probably 3/4 of a great film. I think the ending is shit, but it's okay for the context of a silly comedy. If it had taken a different route, and I'm not even saying what that route should have been, but it could have been a masterpiece, I think.
What do you think?
It's well,
Not what it necessarily should have been, but what could it have done that would have made it into a masterpiece?
that's the thing that I don't. It's a little bit too conventional. It's a little bit too much of a happy ending where things just tie together with a bow, and it's a cute little funny ending. But that's why I say I don't know what it could have been. Um, if I knew what it could have been, I would have been making movies and not talking about them every week with you. my talent would be
that.
my talent would be better utilized in that manner.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely 90s as fuck.
Absolutely.
Why is that? It just has the feel. It's like porn. It's like I know it when I see it. I know it's obscene when I see it. It has elements of a lot of stuff that, for example, it opens with a guy stuck in traffic. And it feels very much the moment when Michael Douglas's character fucking loses it when he's stuck in traffic, defense in falling down.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it has that same fertile ground to spin off into a lot of really dark places that the corporate culture and American culture, etc., can create. Because it's like, yeah, this guy can. There's even a comment where they tell him, like, one guy tells him, I think it's the Michael Bolton guy, tells him, like, I thought you were gonna start shooting up the place or something like that.
But that was also typical of the '90s. You got to remember, my dad is an ex-postal employee. I grew up hearing about that shit all the time, and it was people would talk about it going postal and shooting up buildings. The pressure that is put on the American working man and woman to do the job. It's I heard my dad was more of a blue collar. This is a white collar comedy. These guys are working in an office, losing their soul under fluorescent lights, whereas my dad was working in a warehouse, basically, losing his soul to the never-ending cycle of mail that just kept coming and coming and coming. And I grew up listening to these stories of supervisors who didn't know shit, managers who were stupid as fuck, and both being people who had come from the line and had moved into a position and either never knew what the fuck they were doing or forgot what they had done. And that's the Lumbergh character, and I think Gary Cole really knocks it out of the park with this, because I think the overall vibe of Office Space is one that dances on truth. There's not a lot here. I can't think of a moment in this film that doesn't speak honestly about the mundacity of the working class existence, of going to a job that you fucking hate and it slowly drain the soul out of your body. It's really funny how you can go the falling down route where it becomes a violent expose of the failure of American life, or you can go in this direction where you look at the absurdity. And both are valid, both are realistic. You can see both of them happening. I don't think that there's a false note in either of those films. I'm glad you brought up Falling Down, even though I hadn't thought of it until you brought it up. I was too taken aback by how much this film reflects everything that I've gone through in damn near every fucking job that I've ever worked. You know,
there's something universal about it almost. And it doesn't matter if it's like blue collar or white collar, because it's the dynamics seem to be the same. It's the idea about the conditions, the banality, the absurdity. I mean, those are also straight up. We recently talked about the trial.
Yeah.
It's and about modernity in general. It's kind of like, well, these ideas of traffic, cubicles, people on hold, PTS reports, redundant memos, redundant coachings, efficiency, jammed printers. It's all fucking bureaucratic shit, from Metropolis to the trial to fucking Matrix to fucking Dark City, fucking Fight Club. You're not your job. You're not your fucking khakis. You're not fucking. All of that is. It's a version of the same fucking the modern times with Charlie Chaplin going through the machine. It's all about the fucking machine. RoboCop. It's there's an element that runs through everything that has to do with these conditions. Now the really American idea of it is to be the person who undergoes this change, and the change makes it so that you're able to function, not only to survive within the system, but to excel within it, but not become part of it. That's that the Kurtz fucking snail slithering along the edge of a straight razor and surviving. That's his dream. That's his nightmare.
Yeah.
To be able to do that, that's the transformation that we're all about. Those fucking that myth. You don't know shit, and somehow you come out the other end better. You go into the desert for 40 days, you come back, you're a prophet. You go to fucking Dagobah, wherever the fuck you go. All the nerds can attack me now if I got this one wrong. And you don't try, you do. And you're Luke Skywalker, you're the Karate Kid, you're whatever fucking white hero goes into the fucking that area and now comes out more fill in the blank than whatever you're saving.
No, he's more fucked up because he's gone into a cave and killed his own father, who turns out to be him, and all that other. Anyway, I thought I would just jump in with that.
All of it. You fucking you're a loser, but you end up being a boxing champion.
Yeah.
You don't know how to play guitar, so you go to the fucking crossroads. You make whatever deal you need to make, and now you're fucking one of the fathers of the blues. It's all of that. It's Tyler Durden. You have to create this fucking, spoiler alert, you have to create a fucking alter ego that is going to take you to these places. You get bitten by a fucking wolf, and now you can smell everything, and you have really great sex, and you sleep amazingly and deeply. It's just kind of like, it's like the lotto ticket of like, we everyone wants to change, and it's like January 1st, get the gym membership. I want this hack, ChatGPT. If I only find the right prompt, make me unstoppable, ChatGPT. Make me a threat, make me blah blah. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. It's this really self-help, but at the same time, the universe is going to give me something. He goes to a hypnotist. The point is, as Americans, we're dealing with, on the one hand, this Protestant work ethic that says, you need to fucking work, motherfucker, because work is your life. And work hard so you can have your time off, but you know you earned it, and be honest. And and be a good person, and a penny saved is a penny earned, and all that. That's on the one hand, but on the other hand, is fucking get money, fuck bitches, fucking get those toys, fucking uh, keep up with the Joneses, fucking do as the Joneses fucking do. Donald Trump, fucking all the rap guys in the fucking 90s were all about Donald Trump because he was such an ostentatious symbol of fucking like wealth, and he put himself out there and blah 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 blah. So we have that where it's kind of like bling bling, make it rain, fucking this and that. The Lamborghinis, the fucking all of that. That's also mixed in where we're showing, we're conspicuously consuming. There's that part. There's the part of fucking like be an honest person, but you better be fucking ambitious because otherwise, who the fuck are you? You're worthless. Like you have to show something. Like how productive are you? Grind, motherfucker, grind. You know. So we have these dueling kind of ethics culturally, and we have the like. Also, you have to be fucking unique. Like you're American. You have to be very. Um, you have to have the most unique truck that everyone else has. You have to have the most unique toy. You have to have the dreams of the desires that are specific to you and everyone else around you because you're unique just like them. You're American. Don't forget. One day, you're going to be sipping fucking Mai Tais on an island someday. You know, all that bullshit. We have all of this mixture of things where we're supposed to be not only unique, but we're supposed to be successful. And you're supposed to have a passion. You have to have a fucking passion. And you have to follow your passion. And then you have to turn your passion into a business. Because your passion has to pay you. Because if you have a passion, well, does it pay you? No. Oh, well, that's a hobby. It's not a passion. That's a fucking hobby. Fuck you. It has to pay you. And you have to be your own boss. So you have to have a business. Your passion is your business. And you have to be a brand. And if your brand only goes so far, then you have to rebrand. Every year, you have to fucking rebrand. But you have to stay consistent. Or you have to change. You have to keep at it. Or you have to know when to quit. And you have to fucking like play the game. Don't hate the player. Hate the game. All of it. How the fuck do we manage that? How do you manage to live in a fucking office, which is the world, in this fucking space with all of these different conflicting fucking things that we're told that we're supposed to be, and not fucking go postal? Like, how do you do it? How do you not lose your fucking soul? How do you not sell it?
I think there's an element of the ego that is involved with, like, you know, there are guys like you and me, a handful of people that we know, and we look at the job as a soul-sucking experience. We give more to the job than the job gives back to us. And I hate to be an elitist when it comes to the mentality that goes into it, but I do recognize that at every job I've ever worked, there tends to be just a going with it kind of mentality, as if there's no other option. I think you have to have a sensibility of a desire to create or to do something or to be artistic in some way or to be fulfilled. I've worked jobs that were parking cars, putting shit on shelves, breaking down shelving units, putting them back up, doing taxes. I've done a lot of different jobs that at the end of the day, I ask, what difference was made outside of just maintaining the economic beast, maintaining the people's need to get out to be catered to be guided through their world. But I'm aware of that, and it beats the shit out of me. While at the same time, I've worked with people who don't think about it at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, am I exceptional in comparison to them, or are they gifted by a certain level of ignorance in just accepting life as what it is? I feel in a way that I'm defeated by life because I have no choice but to do this. And that sounds, and I hate the term, but people use it all the time. First world fucking problems, and you have a roof over your head, you have food on your table, but there is a sense of needing to fill a certain fundamental purpose. The job that I'm working now is only made possible because I failed at so many other things, and the life that I wanted to have didn't work out the way that I imagined it would, because either I didn't have the talent for it, or the business changed to a degree that made it impossible to make a living at it. Mm-hmm. Part of that is my fault. Part of that is the problem of the system as a whole. Mm-hmm. I take blame, yes, but I also recognize it as being fucked up.
Yeah, because there's an element of like personal responsibility mm-hmm. mixed with utter powerlessness.
yeah.
Where it's like, okay, like had you made all the, because you could have made, there are decisions that like, because we're all speaking to ourselves.
Yeah. All the time.
There are decisions, but we're gonna focus on you right now. Okay. Just like me, but I'm just for my own self-preservation right now. I'm gonna focus on you. Mm-hmm. There are decisions that you could have made that would have been better. That this is true, and you can say that in hindsight. Even if, but the thing is that maybe those decisions, those options weren't obvious or apparent to you at the time. Maybe it's only in hindsight that you're like, oh, I see these avenues, but like maybe you're just projecting those avenues because maybe they weren't even there, and that's why you didn't make them. There's that. There's also, had you made all of the so-called right decisions, you still may not have made it.
Yeah.
Had you made all of the complete most horrible decisions, you may have made it. For despite yourself, you may have made it. The what's the episode in Seinfeld where the guy does the opposite of what he what he always does, and then he becomes more successful. Mm-hmm. Like you can go either way. There are examples of people doing the so-called right thing. Some succeed, some fail. Examples of people doing the so-called wrong thing. Some succeed and some fail. They burn out horribly. So it's kind of like there are those of us who fucking think about these things, and then there are those of us who are basically in Plato's cave allegory, fucking mistaking the shadows for reality.
Yeah.
I would rather be aware and be miserable than to be Cypher in the Matrix, fucking, oh, I'll take the steak. Like, yeah, the steak, okay, cool, but it's but there's something about seeing the reality as it is, because then maybe there's a hope that you can fucking you can change it somehow. Maybe you can buy into that bullshit of I can fucking do something. Because if not, I mean, if you can't really do anything, at least maybe you can fucking try to do something, and then you can say, well, You know, at least I know.
Yeah.
At least I fucking know, and I see it, and I have no power, but at least I know that I'm right. I'll take that to my grave.
Some people would say that that's sour grapes, rationalization, accepting fate, but I think there's more to it. I think if I hadn't have gone to LA at 24, 25 and busted my ass and worked the door at the Comedy Store and gone on fucking auditions and you know, joined a fucking theater club and met theater company and met you, I don't know what my life would have been, but I value those experiences. I value what it was and what it taught me, because you got to be realistic, and you look at how you got to look at the percentages and how everything is basically against you, and how unlikely it is for you to succeed at a thing that you care about. Once you recognize that and accept it for the hopelessness that it is, it makes it easier to dive head first into it. And at a certain point realize, I can't do this anymore. But the job that I have now, I'm only successful at, and I'm only able to go to on a daily basis because I did those shit gigs. I got paid in fucking alcohol, drove home drunk, got the DUI, taught kindergarten hungover. It was about facing up to the realities of life and the responsibilities needed to keep the personal machine going. And I don't regret that, because I know that the alternative would have ended in my untimely death or the death of others. You know, I would have fucking lost my mind. And the beauty of watching this movie, because this movie is 1999. I was 25 years old. 24, actually. This movie, first of all, this movie came and went and disappeared. They buried this movie the same way they would do it 8 years later with Idiocracy. They buried it. It's for some reason, it's like they don't want anything that... They like Mike Judge's sense of humor, but when he gives them the finished product, they're like, oh, this is a little bit too dark or a little bit too spot on to connect with an audience, and we can't reinforce this idea of independent thinking. So they destroy it. But these things somehow manage to find an audience and find somebody to pay attention to them. But watching it last night at 50, and I haven't seen it in 15, 20 years, it was kind of amazing to me, because I was like, wow, this shit, I recognize myself in these guys. Because these guys are in their, late 20s? And they're working this shit job, yeah. And it's unfulfilling. They're not appreciated. They feel like they should be doing something more. And the part that really stuck home with me is when Peter, the Ron Livingston character, is talking to Joanna. Is her name? Yeah, Joanna. Jennifer Aniston. Mm-hmm. And she's basically the pretty girl next door. Basically like a stoner pothead chick, even though they don't show that's the way it felt to me. Like she was just an underachieving kind of, fuck up chick.
Okay.
And she points out to him, nobody likes their job. And that would have been such a fucking acceptance of defeat when I was 25.
Mhm.
Now it's like, yeah, nobody likes their job. I don't like my job. You don't like your job. Before we got on the mic, we were bitching about our jobs. Last week,
Yeah,
we were bitching about our jobs.
there's also the idea of like, well, um, of still wanting to find a. If I'm not gonna if I don't like this job,
Yeah.
there's another job out there that's gonna be better that I also will probably not like, but it'll still be better than this one.
Yes, but, and this is the point that I was getting to, you bitching your job, me bitching my job, my dad, who hasn't worked in 10 years, bitching about his fucking job. He still talks about the post office to this day. He hasn't worked in 10 years. But
Yeah, I mean, it's the system.
It's the system. But you and I have this
Right.
fountain of expression, and we've talked about the numbers aren't what they are. They should be higher. We're the best at what we do. Fuck everybody else. We're up here with an intelligent analytical discussion of films and how they relate to popular culture, society as a whole, but also what they mean artistically. We could talk about this film today, and next week we can go and sit down and watch Ingmar Bergman's 6-hour fucking Scenes from a Marriage. And both films we can discuss with the sensibility of there is truth there. And let me tell you why it's so biting and why it's so important to pay attention to it and learn from it. Now, does that mean that I'm putting Mike Judge on the same level of Ingmar Bergman? In a way, yes. Artistically, no. But truth is truth. And whether you do it in satire and with a comedic sensibility, or a brutally honest examination of a marriage that is crumbling, the outcome is basically you and I having a better understanding of our own lives. And I think that's the power of a film that makes you, of a dramatic film that grabs a hold of your heart and soul, and a comic film that grabs a hold of your heart, your soul, and your sense of humor, and forces you to laugh at your own helplessness. Because what I'm watching here, this could easily be a tragedy. Sadness.
Well, yeah, it's a daily fucking, it's a fucking quotidian tragedy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Every day, Sisyphus fucking pushes that rock up the hill, and every night it falls. You know, and I mean, but that's why Camus was like, "Well, it's so fucking absurd. Like, you have to figure it out."
Mm-hmm.
It's Leslie sent me she posted something, and then she sent me it's some Frida Kahlo quote where she says like, find a man who brings your husband or whatever the fuck it said, who brings you poetry, hope, and coffee. And I'm like, all right, coffee, check.
You're gonna have to outsource those other two.
In coffee, there is hope and poetry.
Yeah.
It's like there's something, you know what I mean? Like, you have to have a new hope against empire, and if I look at it from fucking like from like generationally, it's like this is a movie about, you ask the guy what he would want to do, and he's like, I wouldn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
The premise is that it's this guy in a fucked up relationship with some chick. He goes to a job that he hates. His manager is constantly like, hey, about those PTS reports. Yeah. And it's like, no, I saw him. I fucked up. Like I didn't put the cover sheet on the thing. So okay, blah blah. And then the next guy comes, his other fucking manager, supervisor, whatever, is like about those PTS reports, and it's like, no, I know. All right, we're gonna send you another version of the memo. No, I have the original. Yeah, we're gonna send it to you. Yeah, we'll send it to you. And all of this is like weighing. He goes to a hypnotist, and the hypnotist puts him under, and while this character, the main character, is under, the hypnotist fucking has a massive heart attack and dies. So this dude like wakes up not giving a fuck anymore, which is like basically on some level that's why these, the subtle art of not giving a fuck that I think his name's Mark Manson, all these books, that's what people kind of like, imagine not having anxiety, imagine just fucking like, just not giving a fuck. Like, I just don't give a fuck. That's this other, like, the level of where people want to be, where they're just kind of like, I would be free if I didn't fucking, what would you do if you lived in such a way that you didn't care how other people felt about you, your parents, your spouse, your loved ones, your own fucking judgments, society, etc., blah 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 blah, right? So he doesn't care. So he was supposed to come in on the weekend of fucking work because his boss caught him, and when he was slinking around the fucking, like, in the Matrix, hiding in those cubicles, and his manager was like, Mr. Anderson, can you come in on the weekend? And he fucking, like, he was supposed to come in on the weekend. He gets hypnotized. He wakes up, not giving a fuck. Weekend comes, he sleeps in. Hey, how come you didn't come in on Monday? I didn't feel like it. He doesn't give a mad fuck. So then the company brings in Elon Musk to make things more efficient.
Nice.
Because efficiency means we're going to fuck people over, and we're only going to keep the parts of the bureaucracy that supposedly we like. We're going to shake things up. So they bring in these efficiency guys, one of whom is John C. McGinley. And they're interviewing these different assholes, and they interview this guy, and he doesn't give a mad fuck. And he's like, his body language is, he's like radically honest. He's very informal. He serves himself fucking water before he sits down. He's like, hey, Bob's. Oh, okay. Like, doesn't care. So it becomes this George Costanza thing or whatever. And so they're like, we're going to fucking promote this guy.
He's a straight shooter. He's telling it
straight
like it
shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's flipping it on its head. So counterintuitively, by not caring, he seems to do better. And then there's that part, and then there's an aspect of embezzling money and other shit. And counter that to another character who is so mild-mannered and swallows everything, Milton. And they take the last thing he hasn't even been, like, he's not supposed to be working there, but no one fucking fired him because there's no direct line of communication. There's redundancy when it comes to certain things, but in other ways, there's like such a lack of fucking like communication and follow through that they just keep moving his desk further and further away to the furthest reaches. Finally, he's in the bowels of the fucking building in the dark.
Yeah. And
he barely speaks, and he's just like, well, and then he starts out, by the end of the film, he's like, well, I could just set fire to the fucking building. And it's just what happens to this character and to these characters. And Jennifer Aniston, the love interest, working at a restaurant with her 37 fucking pieces of flair, where it's like the bare minimum is you're supposed to have these fucking pins on your thing. They're like 15, but
Yeah.
Kiss Ass over here has 37. So how come you don't have 37? Well, I thought it was 15.
You got to
Well,
express yourself.
that's the bare
That's the
minimum.
thing, yeah.
But you have, yeah, don't you want to express yourself?
No, this is a job, motherfucker. Give me, I bring people their fucking food. That's the thing. I love that. Because how many times have you been face to face with a supervisor or a manager with the mentality of the corporate family? We are a family. No, motherfucker, we are not a family. This is a fucking job. That's all this is. I come in, I move shit from one place to another, and you pay me for it. That's it. I don't have to build this religion, this foundation of my soul on this job. And I've seen people who, let's take, if you work at Best Buy, or, because I don't want to say where I work, I don't want to say where you work, but that Best Buy family.
I work at Radio Shack.
Doing beautifully. They don't know that they were fucking laid off. So it's, but you know that it's adopt the thinking that pushes it further. There's that move. Do you remember when in the beginning of the movie, I think it was the first meeting that they're having before Lumbergh's birthday celebration, which, God, that was so great how they did that. The disgust in everybody's eyes and then the excitement for just a piece of fucking cake, which, oh my God, I've seen that play out so many times. But there's a scene where they're having a group meeting, that Monday morning meeting where they all gather, and that sign is, I don't remember exactly what the sign said, but it said something to the effect of, how do you make Intel better? Do you remember that? There was a banner.
Yeah, the sign that the main character ends up taking down.
Did he take it down?
Are you talking about it's like a canvas fucking sign like that, or
yeah, it's hanging on the wall. How can you make us more productive, or something like that? And you're just like, this is a job, motherfucker. The fact that I come here and I give you the 8 hours a day that is required of me, it should be
that's
enough.
Not what the job can do for you. Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing about when I think about. I was saying this. I was getting to the.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No. It wasn't. It was just the conversation.
Yeah.
The it's this fucking Gen X fucking slacker kind of thing. And 90s was very much like, it was this anti-corporate fucking grunge, fucking all of that, right? But if you look at these different, look at the different generations, and that's why it's interesting for me to look at this movie, like to look back on this movie from this perspective. When I'm looking at I'm looking at like, the fucking baby boomers who fucking the fucking radical 60s or whatever, but then they become all corporate as fuck by the 80s.
Yeah.
Once their dreams were fucking smashed.
They went from cocaine to Rogaine as
exactly. I mean,
George Carlin once
I'm not only the president, remember. That bullshit. And fucking the it's like that show, like that 30 somethings and all, you know what I mean? Like all of that.
30 something, yeah. Yuppies, yeah.
These fucking yuppies and all that, and then the slacker thing, and then the idea of like millennials, that it was more of this sense of like, oh, we're gonna gentrify everything, but we're gonna be like more authentic, but not, and blah blah. And then now with like Gen Z, there's this whole, during COVID was the fucking Great Resignation. Remember that?
Yeah.
And now the whole idea of quiet quitting. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's it's what you're talking about. It's like, I'm only gonna fucking do what I'm paid to do. I'm not doing anything more. I'm not coming in earlier. I'm not staying later. I'm not taking on extra fucking work that I'm not gonna get paid for. I'm gonna work my fucking wage. I'm not grinding. I'm gonna clock in. I'm gonna clock out. I'm gonna log in. I'm gonna log out. I'm gonna walk in. I'm gonna walk out. I'm not how productive I am. Very Tyler Durden-esque. I'm not my job. I'm not my salary. I'm just gonna do what the fuck my job description says. Because you're gonna treat me in a transactional way, while I'm gonna fucking treat you in a transactional way. I'm not gonna fucking pretend that we're family, like you give a fuck about me. Like, accountability is one way. When, you know, how is it that we as the workforce, most of us, let's say we show up 360 some odd days, or whatever, 350 something, or whatever the math is on what you do. If you miss one day, that comes up, and it's like, I'm not hearing about the fucking 300 and some odd days that I'm here. I'm hearing about the fucking one day that
Yeah.
that I'm not here, and you're asking me, well, did you submit blah blah blah? And it's like, yes, I did. Did you check that I had submitted it? No, you didn't, but I had submitted it. So, like, motherfucker, like, I have so many fucking sick hours I can't even use them because I'm always here. Okay, we're human too. And it's like, oh, but I'm not allowed to be human, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, we're gonna have a pizza party on
The pizza
Friday.
party. Yeah.
A pizza fucking party. Or you want to sign up for this volunteer event so that the company can get even more fucking massive ass tax fucking breaks because we do these charity things. And it's like, no, I'm not fucking doing that. No, I'm doing my life's work, which is watching Office Space, so I can fucking like record for a podcast. Oh, that's cute.
Mm-hmm. How much money do you make off of that?
Well, yeah, exactly. Buymeacoffee.com, motherfucker. You know? I don't even claim it. I don't claim it on my taxes. It's like, fuck your 37 pieces of flair.
Yeah.
And it's not only, like I said, it doesn't have to be Johnny Paycheck, take this job and shove it. It's, or that tour bus fucking Mike Judge shit. It's
the best. If you haven't seen it, go to Tales from the Tour Bus.
Yeah.
Go to it. You will not.
Yeah,
be
Mike Judge
disappointed.
is the fucking Beavis and Butthead guy, and the fucking what is it? Tales from the Tour Bus.
Tales from the Tour Bus. Yeah.
It's all callers and no fucking callers.
Yeah.
We're all fucking wage slaves.
Yeah. But it's okay if you recognize it. If you look at your job and you look at your career as your life, okay, I get it. That you have a passion for it. But that doesn't necessarily have to be mine. And everything that I do at the job, whether they want me in at 6, whether they shift my schedule to fucking 11, and now I'm closing, whatever. If I got to work holiday, I don't care. As long as the pay is coming in, I'm given my days off, or at least the option to have my days off, and I'm compensated for my time. There was a job that I worked right before this job. I was doing home health care, which meant basically taking care of old people. It was fucking rough. And they wanted me to go work taking care of an old man for 12 hours. They wanted me to do a 12-hour shift. And I said, okay, so that's a regular 8-hour shift and 4 hours of overtime. And they were like, no. You have to do 40 hours in a week in order to get overtime. And I was like, well, I'll do the 8 hours, and you're going to have to find somebody to finish those last 4 because I'm not working without overtime. Well, that's what we do here. I was like, no, that's what you do here.
Yeah, they'll get like,
you know what I mean?
They want to front load you with all these hours, but they don't want to give you 40.
Yeah.
Because then they have to fucking offer you benefits or fucking, or whatever. So It's like, yeah, like, we're going to make you work fucking like 38 hours in one day, you know? Mm-hmm. In one 24-hour period. And then the rest of the week, you don't have work.
Yeah. So, it's the best of both worlds, isn't it? They got you.
Oh, yeah. Or else it's the one where they're like, we need you to come in for a 4-hour shift every fucking day.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, a motherfucker's gonna be like, well, why don't you just give me 3 days, and then the other days, I can fucking look for other work, motherfucker. And it's like, no, we don't want you available for anything else outside of this job.
Yeah.
Except for sleeping.
Yeah. And you should be thankful that you have a job. You should be thankful that we are taking the chance on you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so crazy.
I mean,
oh my God.
Yeah, come in for 4 hours, right in the smack dab in the center of the fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they do fucked up things.
And they do it because they.
I know a guy at his job. He wants to open. No one else wants to open but him, and he's been opening. So then what they decided to do was they were like, okay, we're going to put you to close. And then all the openers are calling out all the time. Because they don't want to open, but he's closing. And he's like, I want to fucking open. Like, everyone's calling out. Why don't you just let me open? Because this problem doesn't have to exist. And they're like, no. We want to challenge you.
Yeah.
Like, step out. Like, we want you to grow. We want you to step out of this is for your own, like, development. We're developing you. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they do. They it just, don't blow smoke up my ass and tell me that, this is for my benefit. This is a job. There's an aspect of my job, and my job is a very labor-intensive job, and they want me to do they want to move me into a more excessively labor-heavy job. And at a certain point, I'm going to say, I can't become a cripple on this job. I can't do what you're asking me to do. I'm 50 fucking years old. There's a limit. But Chris Rock had a great joke where he said, there's a reason that there's a minimum wage, because if they could pay you less, they would. It's just that it's illegal. Yeah. And that's fucking true. And it's the sense
somebody fought for that.
Yeah, somebody, and that's the thing that people don't understand. I was watching, I think, some show on HBO with John Oliver, but they were talking about the 1980s air traffic controllers, and they were talking about the problems with air traffic control as an industry today, and how it was basically crippled.
There is no industry today. They're gone.
Yeah, because Reagan broke it and fired all these fucks and made it so that they couldn't get rehired, and basically scared the shit out of everybody. And now they're facing a situation where it's outdated technology. They're using floppy disks.
Plus fucking Elon Musk fucking fired all the ones that are left.
Yeah. It's amazing. Under the auspices of what? Diversity hires. We're entering an era of, if you have any kind of melanin in your skin, or if you're a woman, it's automatically assumed that you don't deserve your position. Now, that's always been there, but now the government has made it acceptable to say it. You guys do not deserve the opportunities that should be going to straight white males. The reason, when you remember when that helicopter accident happened in New York, I think I had to call you. Did Donald Trump just say that the air traffic controllers were black? And that's why they fucking crashed into each other? Wow. This is where we're at? And nobody, and this fucking moron still has his job? How did we get here? I mean, we talk about unions and we talk about the fights that people have had. Remember when we did Hoffa and we were watching Jack Nicholson lead all these fucking pissed off drivers, all a bunch of pissed off white guys, but baby steps, right? Who were just axe handling, beating the shit out of scabs. And you look at that shit and you say, freedom isn't free. And it's not given to you. You have to go out there and take it. You have to force the hand. And Office Space does that to a degree, but then cops out at the end. And two of the guys get jobs and go back into the industry. One guy ends up doing construction, and it's a little bit too pat a happy ending for me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and then it's like all honest work, fucking, like just getting your hands dirty, but like this idea of like maybe it's more meaningful because you're actually like you get to see what you're doing like directly.
Mm-hmm.
In the old days, it's like, well, if your family made fucking shoes, if you were from a long line of fucking cobblers, then like, that's the whole idea. Like you could take pride when you directly made something versus working in a factory. You put a screw on a thing and it's like, you look at the end product and it's just kind of like, well, you didn't really make that. Like you just put the screws on that piece.
Yeah.
And like you're just part of a larger machine that made it. Sure. I mean, the idea is that in the film, while he's not giving a fuck, he and his two friends come up with a plan to it's 1999, so now there's fucking it's fucking the Prince song and fucking Y2K looming.
Yeah.
So
please, I mean,
so
there are some people who don't even know what there are some. You got to remember that's 25 years ago. There are some people who don't even know what Y2K was.
Yeah, so
it's
Y2K
insane.
means 2000. Yeah, so this whole idea that all the computer setups it was like for that year the systems would only be 99. So they were only like so many digits long, like to account for the year, so that everyone was freaking out when it was going to like change over to the year 2000, the numbers would be 00. And supposedly that was going to like send all of the economic and technological systems of the world come tumbling down because no one, like the system wouldn't know like what 0 meant, right?
Yeah.
So buy your fucking lanterns and flashlights, motherfuckers, because here it comes, Plus
I remember that.
The
That was
whole
a very
90% of the world shit.
That was a very palpable fear. I mean, you and I were alive back then. You were what, 21? I was 25, and it was like, holy shit, we could go into the dark ages. That's what they told us. we were living in that fear for about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years. And people
Yeah,
were
motherfuckers
fucking
were
worried.
buying lanterns.
Alex Jones was becoming the
Oh, he
star
was
that he would
selling
become,
shit, colloided silver and lanterns.
And put everything in gold because your money's going to be gone.
Put it all in fucking gold, motherfucker. Yeah. Mm, completely. I mean, and as a matter of fact, Alex Jones wasn't even. It would be it took after 9/11 that he really like
Yeah.
hit.
He blew up. Yeah.
Pun intended.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All those puns intended. So the idea is that they're gonna. Speaking of floppy disk, they're gonna use this fucking virus and the file name is virus. They're gonna put this virus into the system that aggregates. It takes like all of the little like fractions of a cent for every transaction within the company or however it works, and it's going to funnel those fractions of pennies of cents into this account. So they're going to embezzle this money based on like aggregating all these fractional cents, so that it amounts to a large sum, but it's supposed to do it over the course of a couple of years, so that slowly it's just like siphoning off money off the top. And apparently like there's a plot like that in Superman 3, I think they say.
Yeah.
And so they do it, but that Michael Bolton guy fucking fucked up because he fucked up a decimal place. In the conversation that Rick and I were having earlier. It's inside joke.
Yeah.
And just a joke from the workplace. Mm-hmm. And so it put like $300,000 in that account, like bam. So like it's gonna get noticed. So now what do they fucking do? And the main character, Peter, has this moment where he's like, fuck, this is all my fault, so what the fuck do I do? So he's like, all right, I'm gonna fucking, I'm going to, spoiler fucking alert, he cashes he makes checks from the account, and he writes a letter, and he fucking slips it under his manager's door, and he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna go to jail. But the guy, Milton, who hadn't been working there, but just no one had told him he was fired, but he kept showing up and he kept getting a paycheck because they hadn't fired him, but they decided to stop his paychecks without telling him that he was fired. So now he's working, but without a check. He decides, fuck it. So Peter shows up to see what happened at work or whatever, and there's a massive fire. The building burns down. So with that went the fucking the confessional letter, and by the end you just see fucking that Milton guy on some tropical fucking beach.
Yeah.
He found it. So it does tie things together. He gets that job at the as a construction worker. Yeah, it's like, okay, everything worked out. They still got to stick it to the man. Milton, who got fucked over, ends up being a little Karen at that fucking resort.
You got to say though, that guy, he really delivers. That is such a broad performance, but it's honest, because if you've worked jobs, you've worked with that guy. You've worked with a guy that is similar. And you know, as ridiculous as it sounds, I have worked with guys where I look at him and I go, oh, that's a Milton motherfucker. That guy's strange.
Yeah.
He's not right. He's living at home with his mom, and He's like Rupert Pupkin. Ma, I'm doing something.
Yeah.
You know, there's a weird quality there that those guys
Recording my
exist.
podcast. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Really important to me. Yeah.
I'm doing something. This is these guys exist, and it's scary because there's a level of disconnection from the culture as a whole, but there have been people in my life that I've looked at and I say, how the fuck does that guy make it? How the fuck does he get from point A to point B every day? And it's almost like you're looking at somebody with a basic motor functioning that understands that the job needs to get done. I get paid. I cash the check. I feed myself and I continue the cycle. And
Yeah.
Root commits. Stephen Root is one of my favorite character actors. He's done a lot of Coen Brothers films. No Country for Old Men, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. He was in I think he did another. No Country for Old Men. He's done it, and then he did a show called News Radio, where he played this ridiculous, over-the-top businessman named Jimmy James, and I loved him on that. That's one of the really great underrated shows of the 1990s. But this guy has this ability to become this chameleon that can be either a creditable barbarian at the gate, like he was on News Radio, or this weird half moronic. I don't even know how else you would describe them, but those guys exist. The Miltons of the world are out there, and you need to be worried about keeping them happy, because they're going to snap. I've seen too many of them. I've seen a couple of them snap. And it's, if you work a job long enough and you don't release that valve every once in a while through exercise or writing or something, you're going to lose your fucking mind. And like, has there ever been a time in your life where you lost perspective and it comes back to you like a splash of water? Like, it's like, holy shit, I got to get a handle of this. I think you and I have talked in the past. I don't do it as much anymore, but there were times when I would tell you, I went to work on Thursday and I didn't know if it was Tuesday or Wednesday. I would lose track of the days, you know? That's a scary thing.
Most recently, I lost perspective in 2016, and I'm getting it back like now. I think I can. I think the rearview mirror is like somewhat clean.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think there are moments when I do think I have a certain sense of perspective, and then there are definitely like moments where I'm just kind of like, no. I mean, and it's like, wow, like this is a portion of my fucking life. You know what I mean? Like, where I'm just kind of like, who is that person? Or who was driving that car? You know what I mean? Like, because it was only partially me. Although I know it was me, but it's like the mentality. And I mean, I look back at areas where the times when I was like, I guess, the happiest in terms of what I was doing. I can think of the theater stuff that I did, and I can think of how creative and how interesting and fulfilling and all that it was. But at the same time, there's also a part of me that's like, well, while I was doing my thing within that system, I can also look at it with a sense of perspective and say, well, like you were also like in a greater picture, like was that your dream, or were you just kind of like part of someone else's larger dream? Or I can think about when and I think maybe both are true. And I can think of when I was heavily doing like the my freelance copy editing, and like it was never gonna I was never gonna buy a house with that money, but I was able to like do shit and fucking pay my bills and fucking like put a little bit to the side, not a lot, and um and when I was working creatively doing that with like my main client, and I was like, I can think about that and be like, fuck, like I was really happy, and like I remember working on my birthday or whatever, and like being like, yeah, like this is what I wanted, like this is the shit. But I can think about that and say, well, if we were working on his novels, like I wasn't working on my novel, I was working on his novel.
Yeah.
And I was really happy to do it, but with that perspective, it's kind of like, I can. Perspective is weird because it's kind of like, well, which perspective? And I can look back on things and say, well, this is the beauty of that, and then this is also kind of like, well, it was still part of a larger pattern. But the problem is that, like, well, you're always going to find shit like that no matter what you look at, and then two, you're always on some level going to be working for someone else anyway, and for someone else's like goals or dreams, regardless of what it is, because you're going to be constrained by something, because you don't live alone. We don't exist in a vacuum. So you've talked about this. You have your own business, like you're constrained by the frameworks of that business, of the frameworks of that kind of like industry, of the needs and wants of your clientele, by the fucking geography, by fucking like, if Leslie and I want to open a coffee shop, are we going to open a coffee shop fucking where we grew up, or are we going to open a coffee shop with all these fucking West Side motherfuckers that we hate?
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? And like, you know what I mean? Or any store or any kind of thing like that. Like,
well, I mean, I was a lot more simplistic about the way I described it, though, because, what you just went into in depth, and you created the scenario. My thing was always, I would listen to people say, I'm tired of working. I'm tired of having a boss. I want to go to business for myself. And I'm like, you're tired of having a boss, but you're going to go into business for yourself. Now everybody is your boss. And people never understood that.
I mean, that's true.
You know what I mean?
But,
it's like, but yes, there is a certain independence to it, but.
Yeah, because I don't know if I know we've had this conversation before. I just don't know if we've done it on mic, but it is what it is. If you have your pop-up, whatever the fuck, it's like, well, you can, or let's just stick to the coffee place or the wine bar or whatever the fuck you do. You can open, like, obviously, if it's a coffee place, well, you want to have a certain, maybe you're going to want to open early. That's a good idea. Who knows? Maybe you're going to be like all night fucking coffee. That's all we do. We only fucking, who the fuck knows what you're doing? But the thing is that you can decide how you want to fucking do it. And then now the consequences are, well, are the bodies walking in or not? You know what I mean? Like, there was when I was in my early 20s, there was a coffee place half a mile from where I grew up. where I was living. Fucking cool place. I ended up fucking like knowing the owner. Fucking like it became a hangout spot. It was like it would have he supported local artists. He fucking had bands. He fucking he if people came in with ideas, he was like, I'll fucking give you a platform for that. Like he had debates there, like just like because it was fresh after 9/11, so there was like debates on religion, like that. He just hosted them. People just wanted to do stuff.
Yeah.
He would be like, "Fuck it, whatever the fuck you like." Local artists, you have paintings. Show me your paintings. I'll put them on the fucking like. We'll decorate with your paintings and we'll put the price tag. We'll see if you can sell them, like that.
Yeah.
But he was a huge Led Zeppelin fan. It was like there was like all this stuff. The problem was that it was only a certain kind of clientele that was mostly going to that place. Because Starbucks and this other fucking place, they were getting like the main shit. And there were, there's more Starbucks. His shit is the one thing. So they had to close. They couldn't fucking stay open because it's kind of like, well, a lot of the fucking either teenagers or 20 somethings that would go in there, they didn't fucking have, after a while, it's like, you don't have enough money to keep this place running. Like, because if you're going to hang out to play chess and fucking like strum a guitar and hang out, and like if you're doing that, let's say you're doing that 3 nights or 3 times a week or 4, like I wasn't buying a coffee every hour. I was fucking buying one fucking coffee and hanging out for fucking like 5 hours there. And then maybe I'll get something else, or if they have a bite to eat or whatever the fuck else they had, and then I leave. And then I come back the next time and I do the same thing. I'm spending more time than I am money there.
But you're also taking up space.
Well, that didn't really, yes, but it didn't really matter because there wasn't like fucking lines trying to get in, fucking like, because the motherfuckers that wanted a seat had one already,
That's true.
So it's just one of those things where it was like it was ahead of its time. And even the idea of it being ahead of its time, I'm like, because if they were to do it now, I think he would have faced the same problem.
Sure.
Certain places just don't click with the environment. And that is not only for businesses, that's also for fucking like the place that you work for, your office space. You know what I mean? Like, how do you find a thing that like works for you while you work for it?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, you mentioned a coffee shop. Think of the places that we would have a great time opening, running, and giving to the community. Coffee shops, maybe a bar without meatheads, a bookstore, a video store. But what's the likelihood of places? Let's take a video store or a bookstore. Who the fuck is going to go to a video store or a bookstore? Video stores, streaming. Bookstores, nobody reads.
Those things are all fucking very specific in terms of like, those are all 90s fucking things.
Yeah. The places that I would like to open and run do not have a clientele that is strong enough to keep it running.
Right.
I'm always going to be a worker. I'm always going to be a blue-collar bullshit worker. I'm going to work till the day I die. And I accept that now because I've had my foot in that other water trying to make that work. And I know how difficult that was. And it's not a cop-out. It's an understanding and an acceptance of the economic world that we live in.
Yeah, and the viability of like what it is that you do. If I mean, the podcast is a fucking. I'm not going to say it's a business. I'm just going to say it's a project that we do. That people can donate to it. But even that, it has a niche fucking quality to it.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have a fucking wide, like, generic appeal. The things that have a generic appeal, for better or for worse, we know what those things are. We know the fast food places. We know the fucking, like, and there is, with that comes a corporate fucking quality to it. Starbucks has a fucking tone. Um, there are places, sure, there are these places that are on the west side or in, like, more trendy areas that are, like, they're cool coffee places, but then you have to contend with, well, high volume, high traffic, high fucking prices, high level of douchebaggery, fucking that clientele that, like, because it's so called, like, trendy, you already know that it's gonna be like those people suck. So you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's kind of like versus fucking corporate, generic, high volume, fucking low price, but, like, high traffic, high volume, fucking loud, crowded, fucking generic. You get it. You get what I'm saying. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's just the fucking nature of the beast. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. So it's fucked up. And, you know, Hollywood now taking it back to that, like, Mike Judge is in a fucked up position, but so is fucking Scorsese.
Yeah.
Because Scorsese made all the right fucking moves, and Scorsese's still fucked at this point in his career.
Yeah.
To a degree.
Well,
Am I wrong?
No. We're lucky we get any movie out of the guy. And Killers might have been the last one. I don't know. Critical acclaim and artistic reverence doesn't mean a whole lot when it comes to the bottom to the dollar. He needs to be able to work on this grand canvas. We'll talk about After Hours at one point, and we'll talk about it in the context of the filmography that he was working on up until that point and then would allow him to do after. But he said when he made After Hours, 30 days of night shooting, this is a young man's game. Where the Scorsese is 78 years old. I think he's 78. You look at the last film that Clint Eastwood made. The second to last film was not a very good film. I was like, wow, this is a drop off. I haven't seen the newest film, but it was basically dumped by Warner Brothers. He's made Warner Brothers probably over $1 billion in the last 30 years. 35 years. Does it matter? It doesn't mean shit. Because the people the people he made the money for are either dead or retired, and this new group is like, what the fuck have you done for me?
Mm-hmm.
The guy is 94 years old. God bless him for continuing to fight, but this ain't Dirty Harry anymore.
Yeah. No, this fucking studio's Dirty Harry.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
they don't give a fuck.
No, they don't give a shit. I mean, Mike Judge, he wants to keep working. So what is he doing? He's rebooting King of the Hill. As great as, and it was great, as great as Tales from the Tour Bus was, it couldn't get an audience.
No.
He ended up having to do another Beavis and Butthead movie, which was funny. It was very good. And he ended up doing he's doing this King of the Hill reboot. You got to keep working. You got to go back to the well and make it exciting again for you. And I feel bad because as enjoyable as some of those projects are, I feel like we're missing out on something that the artist could have done that would have been different and better and taken in a different direction. And maybe it wouldn't have been as good, but doesn't the artist have a right to fail like that? Not when somebody else is footing the bill, I guess.
Yeah.
To me, that's
Yeah,
the
because it's a
pressure.
business.
Yeah, it is. The business is show. And it's, to me, it's depressing. To me, it's sad. It's depressing. Shit, Spielberg. As big as Spielberg, probably the most financially successful director in the history of cinema. He had to do Jurassic Park in order to do Schindler's List. Can you believe that?
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, all the fucking money. I mean, Jurassic Park is a good movie. It's a fun movie. It's, you know, it created this fucking nightmare of an industry, but it was, yeah. But these motherfuckers should have said, yeah, we'll write the check. Make your fucking black and white Nazi movie.
Yeah, and then we'll get all these Oscars for it anyway.
Doesn't matter. Does not matter. I mean, the business is what it is. So, I mean, you see a Mike Judge, you see a Scorsese, you see so many directors, actors, trying to get something made and it can't get made. But then you look at it reflected in Office Space. I really did enjoy watching this movie again, as troubling as it was. And there were moments where, like, oh my God, I've been there. I've done that. I've had bosses like that. I've had Lumbergs. It's great to see it reflected on screen because, number one, there's a little bit of hope. I think it's a very hopeful film. But also, there's this sense of, I'm not in this shit alone. Somebody else has experienced it. And I gotta be honest, after finishing it last night, I sat down and I thought about a lot of stuff. And I thought about my own life. And as much as I love doing this podcast, and will continue to do this podcast for as long as we're able to do it, I will be seeking other forms of artistic expression, which means going back to the page. Regardless of who reads it, regardless of who I get it out to, I will be writing again. No more excuses, no more bullshit. Get busy. And it's weird how a simple, ridiculous comedy can light that spark again and make you remember what you cared about. Maybe I'm putting too much weight on this film, but that's how I felt at the end of those 90 minutes.
It does something.
Yeah.
You know? It does something. The society's like, get a fucking job. You know? Fuck your page. Get a fucking job. It's John Travolta talking to fucking Samuel Jackson's character when he's like, I'm gonna go on adventures. He's like, you're gonna be a fucking bum, Jules. That's it. A bum. That's it.
It's just where we differ. I'm going to walk the earth.
BuyMeACoffee.com.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
That's it. We're on adventures. Fucking, yeah. BuyMeACoffee.com/watch RickRamos. That's BuyMeACoffee.com/watch RickRamos. This episode goes to someone. It basically goes to everyone because we've all been there, or we will be there, or we're there now. So take some of that hard-earned fucking money and give it away. Give it to us because we deserve it. That's why. Because we fucking deserve it. Goodbye.